the party that I lead is not factionalized. It does not have factions. We have just got one mainstream, and I think for the sake of clarity, I would like to add that this mainstream has got its registered offices on plot 1164 Entebbe Road in Kampala, commonly known as Najanankumbi. It has a leadership that is registered by the regulator of the parties, of political parties and organizations in this country, that is the Electoral Commission of Uganda, and I'm registered as the party president together with the other officials. We have got members of parliament.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fuji Fact Checkers. This is your homeboy, yours truly, Adrico. I want to welcome you to a commentary on what's going on with FDC, Forum for Democratic Change in Uganda. It's so highly divided. There are already two factions. There is the Najanankumbi faction and the Katonga faction. It's really tough for these parties. I think there's a new party already that has been formed, and current FDC president Patrick Amuria Oboy. So let's get into it and hear what the current president of FDC is trying to tell us. What's going on with your party, and what is it? What do we have for Ugandans? Yeah, I'll just drop my commentary after the message.
You for really understanding our situation as the Forum for Democratic Change.
Yeah.
That the FDC has got one president, and that president is Patrick Oboy Amuriat. I think it was a slip of the tongue on your part when you say the faction of FDC in Katonga. The party that I lead is not factionalized. It does not have factions. We have just got one mainstream, and I think for the sake of clarity, I would like to add that this mainstream has got its registered offices on plot 1164 Entebbe Road in Kampala, commonly known as Najanankumbi. It has a leadership that is registered by the regulator of the parties, of political parties and organizations in this country, that is the Electoral Commission of Uganda, and I'm registered as the party president together with the other officials. We have got members of parliament who were elected as FDC, 30 in number now, about to get to 31, and we continue to receive financing from the government through the Electoral Commission by a statutory arrangement. We also continue to field candidates whenever an opportunity arises. And so by and large, really the control of the party, the legitimate, leaders of the party are the leaders whom I head as president of the FDC.
And that's what...
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that FDC has gone through such a very, I could say, tumultuous times. It's very unfortunate that the former president of FDC, I think Major General Mugisha Muntu, and even the founder, I think the founding president, Colonel Dr. Besigye, it's so sad that they just left this party to go hayway. They were the major voices in this party. I remember when I was still growing up in the early 2000s, FDC was really the main opposition party, and all those Ugandans who felt that they had grievances were largely actually part of this party. But over time, the NRM, I think, managed to overtake and overrun this party, and it seems that the values that the party holds, or that the former leaderships used to hold, has actually waned. The new the new crop of leaders in the party have really, they have demonstrated that they are not capable of standing firm on the ideals of the party. So it's very tragic what is happening with FDC, but I don't know whether they still have a second chance, given the kind of volatile political environment in Uganda at the moment. It's not easy now for FDC, I think, to stand, but let's hear what the president has to say. Please continue.
Where I was coming from, I just wanted to jump in real quick because there was a statement that was released, and I'm sure you've seen it. It's dated 26th of August 2024, signed by Chairman Ambassador Waswa Birigwa, clearly on the Forum for Democratic Change headed paper. And this is what it says: notice to dissolve the Forum for Democratic Change Party, pursuant to the resolutions of the National Delegates Conference that sat on the 19th of August 2024. Notice to dissolve the Forum for Democratic Change is hereby issued in accordance to Article 36 of the Forum for Democratic Change Constitution, dated at Kampala this day of the 26th day of August 2024, under my hand, Ambassador Waswa Birigwa. The party that you're saying, there's a faction that is saying it has dissolved the Forum for Democratic Change. Would love to hear from you. What's going on within the Forum for Democratic Change?
In this country, anybody can go to NASA Road and produce a headed paper. When you look at what Waswa Birigwa presents there, it's a headed paper with...
Yeah, now for those who do not know NASA Road, it is it's a very famous street in Kampala, the capital city, that where you can be able to forge any kind of document. It's, I could say, the center of manipulating documentation. Whatever document you have, they can make a fake copy of any form of document. It could be your credentials, it could be your passport, it could be your license, your driving license, anything. These guys in this street are very capable. So I think Oboy is trying to indicate that that letter is a fake, and yet the chairman of the party is actually indicating that he has the powers to dissolve the party. So it's very interesting. Yeah, let's go ahead.
An address on plot 6, Katonga Road. I mean, this is not our address to begin with. And I would like to inform viewers that that is posturing at its best, and that for us, we are unbothered about that notice. It does not affect us. The people who should be making such a notice under Article 36 of our Constitution should be us, the legitimate leaders, the recognized leaders. And I'm just wondering, that notice is really for the sake of confusing the public. What its effect going to be? Zero. It's not going to affect the manner in which we operate. We are not going to shut down on account of that notice even for a single minute. And so we would just like to spend time informing the population, especially our members, that that letter has got no effect at all, because it was a result of a resolution taken by a body that was illegally constituted, something that court determined many months ago. And it's very surprising that people who claim to have gone to school, having huge degrees, are not utilizing that knowledge that even a common village person would be able to discern.
And you raised that in your reaction to this letter. And I mean, you mentioned it was a 4- or 5-page document, clearly laying out the historical perspective. The FDC party members are confused. There's the delegates conference that is happening, that is chaired by Waswa Birigwa, which of course that camp has DR.kizza, it has Elias Lukwago, Semujunganda, some of the big wigs within the Forum for Democratic Change. Then there's the party president, Patrick Amuriat Oboy, who also has, also sometimes he also called the delegates conference. It has the Nathan Nandala Mafabis and, a list of all other party members. There's confusion within the Forum for Democratic
Yeah,
Change.
it is that confusion that we are laboring to sort out. And we sympathize, of course, with the public, with our members who have been put into this kind of situation. As far as the leadership of the FDC is concerned, there is no confusion whatsoever. And so our biggest task at the moment is to sort out that confusion in the minds of the public and settle this matter in as far as the understanding the situation is concerned, particularly for our members and also, the political players in this country. And I think that this is the strategy that our friends sitting in Katonga have adopted. Continue to stir up the water, cause confusion, not allow us to settle. Whenever we go out, they're bringing in something new. But I believe that, time is going to be our best ally in this, because that notice of 6 months, the 6 months will come, and whatever they would like to do based on the notice that has been given is going to fall through, definitely. As day follows night, I would say to you that that is just merely misinforming the public, and is of no consequence to the stability of the FDC.
Well,
So now, in light of what Patrick Oboya Amuriat is saying, he's trying to convince the public and cool down the uncertainties that are happening within the party structure. It's also important to note that there are a lot of players in this, as he noted that the two factions have a lot of bigwigs within the party being on one side, and another faction that they tend to call them rebels, or people who tend to be affiliated in one way or the other with the government, or I could say the governing party NRM. In other words, they could be termed also as traitors to the party. So on one side, you're seeing the likes of the former presidents, DR.kizza Besigye and Lukwago. I think Elias Lukwago, he's one of the party leaders who actually defected from another party and came into the FDC maybe in the last 5 or 6 years back. I think Lukwago is one person who has a whole trail of issues that follow him, and he could also be termed as people who could have instigated some of these divisions within the party. And you have on the other side those who are termed as traitors, especially the one whom he described as Nandala Mafabi. And it has been said that he actually got picked bribes from the NRM party, and he could be one of the instigators of all this division that is happening with the FDC. So it's really interesting what shoes that Patrick Oboya Amuriat is at the moment in. He's really in a very tight situation on who to give allegiance to. Many of the party leaders, especially the older generation, still have allegiance to former party president DR.kizza Besigye, who is very influential in the standings of FDC, because Patrick Oboya Amuriat is new, and in the Ugandan politics there's a lot of issues that come up, especially in line with I could say tribalistic tendencies, a lot of nepotism within party lines. It's very obvious that sometimes these issues always crop up within the party, and it's unfortunate that these things have tended to grow within this party, which was considered initially really a nationalistic populist party, but over time it has degraded itself because of internal party politics, in which you can't rule out the issue of tribalism and nepotism. So having said that, let us try to go to a message by the message by the Katonga faction, and we see what happens.
No, I'm not denying it, because these are friends that resolved to look into dissolving the Forum for Democratic Change. Today on the show, we're privileged to be having one of the top leaders of the Forum for Democratic Change, Katonga faction. That is also, he also doubles as the Lord Mayor of the city, Elias Lukwago. Lord Mayor, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Listen, there is a lot of conversations happening within the Forum for Democratic Change, and this is as the political terrain begins to shape up ahead of the 2026 general elections. I know that there was a delegates conference, and there were conversations of dissolving Forum for Democratic Change. Would love to hear it from you. What really is going on?
What is going on, we pronounce ourselves on each and almost everything at the delegates conference that was convened on the 19th day of this month. I think the message was loud and clear. We are charting out a new direction, taking a new trajectory. And before we do that, we have to first wind up the entity we have been subscribing to, in accordance with the party constitution. And as the acting president in the interim, I was tasked with the duty of heading a team in this extended period to pursue those two processes. One, liquidation or dissolution of the FDC. Two, registration of a new party. Those are the two basic or fundamental tasks that were presented before me. And we have already started on the process. The notice is out for the dissolution of the party. We assigned that to the chairman and the deputy chairman, the vice chairman rather, of the FDC, Eastern. The Honorable Salam Musumba, together with the Haspiria, the chairman, Ambassador Virigwa, and they have already prepared a notice, which I'm sure has come out in the papers, to the effect that within the next 6 months,
just to give you
the FDC as you knew it would be no more.
Mr. Lukwago is saying. It's very unfortunate that what he is saying is that FDC needs to be dissolved. It's no longer going to stand as a political party. But imagine something that has stood for almost 20 years and they have contributed politically and in different kind of ways to the multi-party democracy that the nation currently is going through. It may not be really already good or okay. It may not be at a level which many could have anticipated, but the aspects of democracy have at least stood up in Uganda, and albeit of course not very 100% perfect, but it is somewhere within what we call multi-party democracy, and there are of course aspects of it, and we cannot ignore the fact that FDC has been a huge contributor to the politics in Uganda, and it's unfortunate that they are just going to sweep all those achievements down the drain. It doesn't make sense to me, and I just got a feeling that we need to really give a warning to the party leaders. They have really shown a high level of incompetence, to a level where they are ignoring the voices of the people who support them at grassroots level. They forget that they have structures at the grassroots level. There are many people who stand for FDC because of the ideals that they were brought up with, and it goes to the same for other previous parties, like for example the UPC party, which is one of the oldest parties. And there are still people who stand for the ideals of the UPC. Much as it has not really been so effective in convincing the Ugandan masses, because the nature of politics now has changed. It's no longer the politics of merit in the past. There's a lot of economic gain that has come up alongside multi-party politics. Many people enter into the political scene for economic reasons, financial reasons, and that's why we don't normally send our best to parliament. It's very unfortunate that this is the direction that the nation is taking. It's not only in Uganda, it's just general, let's say, all over the world. People are becoming more covetous, and it's more of me, myself, and I, that kind of attitude. Self-centeredness, selfishness, greediness, all these things rolled into one. So it's unfortunate that FDC is going to this level. They have forgotten the ideals that the party stood for, and they are bringing in very different concepts that an ordinary person will still find hard to comprehend. By ordinary, I mean someone who's a rational thinker, someone who's logical, who thinks for himself and stands for his rights. That kind of person, because there are a lot of people who are just jokers. They are in just because of what the politicians can offer them. No, I'm not meaning those kinds of people. I'm meaning people who are able to think, and they are logical in their thinking. Yeah, so this is what I really think. It's unfortunate, and the party leaders need to do better. They really have to step up. We cannot see FDC go down the drain. We need FDC. Its achievements, though not sufficient, but they are still commendable. FDC, as one can argue that actually the party has acted in a manner that makes the ruling party govern better. Some of the ideas that the FDC actually came up with were adopted by the ruling party. So we cannot ignore those kinds of achievements just because of partisan politics. Petty, unfound, I could say, just because you cannot move along with someone, then you just want to destroy a whole party because of your grievances, self-aggrandizement, and hateful rhetoric amongst yourselves. You want to carry along a whole group of people, a whole section of the society together with you. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense. We need to find a solution. I'm not saying that I'm a supporter of FDC, but I'm just indicating the importance of the multi-party politics that the nation had a referendum on almost 23 years back. That those ideals still have to stand. Many people are principled. Why isn't our nation principled? Why aren't our parties principled? That's a very huge question for many of us Ugandans. A lot of flaws, but in my opinion, I don't think FDC has to go down the drain. It cannot. We cannot afford to do that. You must stand your ground and stand for your ideals, because you once contributed to the politics of this nation. So those are my thoughts. Please give me your thoughts as well. Give me your feedback, whether I am right, whether I'm wrong, where I have not done right. And also, please share this content. I know my video is not yet good, but I know I will improve with the editing. God bless you. Ciao.